talking about rejection. Did anybody have a listen to the podcast this week? And if you did, what were your reflections? Let me know. Did you have a listen? What were your reflections? I think Sarah and I, this is Sarah's idea for a topic, because I think she'd had a couple of conversations with people who were, it was actually going for roles at the moment, and who were struggling with feelings of rejection because I think there's, I mean, I don't know what your experience is, but it seems to be quite a lot of restructuring and redundancies in organisations at the moment, and therefore people looking for new roles and that not making progress in the way that they would like to, and kind of feeling this sense of rejection. That's where the episode kind of came from. Reflections in the WhatsApp group. Yep, Sean. In case people don't know, there is a WhatsApp group. Oh, I need to keep adding people in. There is a WhatsApp group for PodPlus that is sort of community run. So if any of you would like to join the PodPlus WhatsApp group, maybe Sean, you could. Okay. Maybe we'll put it in Podmail. So if you want to join it, we'll put it in PodMail so you can join it. But if anybody from the PodPlus WhatsApp group can stick a link in chat, that's probably the best thing. Rebecca's saying, I like the breathing moment. I'm Team Sarah on this one. yeah, Team Sarah. Okay, so before we get on to that, actually, I just wanted, in case you don't know, because we've just started like posting quite a lot about this now, the Video Book Club, or the links for all of that are active now. So what is Video Book Club? It is a 1-month learning experience that starts in January. We have partnered with Lit Video Books to give everybody free access to their video book library. And what we are going to do as a community is focus on 4 video books during the month. You can get engaged with all of them, you can get engaged with one of them, entirely up to you, but we've kind of set it up for you. So we've picked 4 video books. In week 1, we are going to be talking about change, Katie Milkman. Week 2, Bob Caldini is talking all about influence. Week 3, we're talking about stress and burnout with Amelia Nagoski. And then week 4 is all about decisions with Dan Ariely. So I won't go too much into it now, but it's a month-long learning program, 4 books. We've designed each week to make the learning easy to do, mixture of podcast episodes and community conversations. All you need to do is sign up. Unfortunately, because no one's here from the team, I can't put the link in chat. And I was trying to find it earlier and realised I can't find it quickly. But it is, if you go to the @AmazingIf page on LinkedIn, it's all there. It's all there. And it will be in PodMail and all the normal places we communicate stuff. But if you would like to join and you haven't yet signed up, it is entirely free. It's another kind of free learning thing from us at a time in the year we think it's good to learn. I've got the link. Claire, you're a star. Basically, you're Team Squiggly today because I'm flying entirely solo. So thanks, Sean, for the PodPlus link. Thanks, Claire, for the video book link. Team Squiggly. I'm going to tell my team they're rejected. I'm going to be like, right, we're talking about rejection. I decided I'm going to completely adopt all the PodPluses into Team Squiggly, and you're all rejected. Let's see. Oh, and wouldn't you know, look, my iPad's frozen. Oh, look at that. You see that? That's a frozen iPad. Joy. All right, while I'm fixing the tech, I'm just going to take a moment to breathe, everybody. While I'm fixing the tech, what my first reflection was on rejection was, I think there are different scales of rejection. And I think the scale of rejection depends on how long you need the breathing space. So I think Rebecca mentioned the breathing space. We talked about when you're dealing with rejection, you need a bit of breathing space before I think your ideas for action can kick in. So I've got some things to talk to you about how you can respond to rejection, but ultimately, I think trying to take action too quickly or encouraging someone else to take action before they're ready is not helpful, so the 3 scales of rejection I had, and I wondered what I was missing. And again, this is off the back of the PodPlus chat that I saw on WhatsApp this week. So I think there are 3 scales of rejection. I think there is some like a not responding rejection. So you send an email and someone doesn't come back to you, or you ask to connect on LinkedIn and it's like it's gone into some black hole of being ignored. I think I consider that to be a small rejection, but you might think differently. But I was like, well, that is a feeling of rejection. Like, why hasn't someone responded to me? Then I think the next type of rejection, which feels a little bit bigger, is sort of like the rejection when you've not been included. Don't know if you're like, oh, why wasn't I don't know, why wasn't I invited to that meeting, or why wasn't I included in that project, or that group of people. Like, I feel like I have sort of been rejected by that group of people, which I think gets a little bit more, I think there's a little bit more psychology going on there, like, oh, do they not like me? Am I not good enough? You've got some things I think that are going on there that make that feeling like you've been rejected in a slightly more personal way, a bit more difficult. And then I think that the big rejection that we often hear about in squiggly careers is like, you're rejected for a role. And I feel like that's a really big rejection because it leads to doubt. It feels, like a rejection you're not quite sure how to respond to. It's a rejection you don't feel like you have a lot of control over. Like you've done everything that you can do, and then someone has just gone, well, no. And you also don't always get feedback. So you've been rejected from something that's really important to you. And that might actually be happening multiple times. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do differently? Because I've not got any insight from you about why you have rejected me. So I got to those 3 rejections. So rejected because someone didn't respond, rejected because I don't belong, and rejected because you've taken my career, my control away, and now I don't know what to do. That was where I got to, and I thought that was the scale they went to. What are your thoughts while I'm fixing my tech, everybody? Have I missed something? Because that's what I was looking at in the PodPlus chat. I was like, oh, maybe I haven't got all the types of rejection people are feeling at the moment. What are your thoughts? Head into chat. Have I missed a rejection? Do you agree with my no respond, don't belong, and then like career developments feeling like I do not know what to do now as a result of this rejection? That's the scale that I got to. Would you agree? Rejecting an idea. That's interesting, Emma. So you're rejecting my input. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. Laura's saying likely fits into the 3rd category. When you get taken off a project. Oh, yeah. And maybe, again, you don't understand. It's like, maybe it's like your opportunity rejected, like an opportunity that you rejected. I am sorting the tech out, I promised. Any other reflections? Let me see if I can get my tech back up, everybody. It's a slower pace today while I fix all the tech. Ta-da! The tech is back. These are my 3 rejections. The small one was kind of a rejection because there's no response. There was a rejection because sort of like a sort of belonging, and there was a rejection to an opportunity. Those are sort of the scale that I was thinking of. Let me just have a look at your chats. This one of the I have a friend who's desperate to leave his job, but it keeps coming second in interviews, no actionable feedback. Yeah, it is interesting. Just I think our own, because we get rejected, but we probably also reject people, right? So if you're a manager, you probably are rejecting people in an interview. You can't, I am interviewing actually for a role at the moment, and so people probably will feel a sense of rejection because I can't offer everybody the role. And so it's just interesting looking at your feedback that maybe with rejection, whilst rejection is hard to deal with, maybe what is harder is not knowing why. So, the rejection without the insight, just looking at what like Laura and Steve are saying in chat. And I guess, taking responsibility for rejection, you can't accept everybody for everything all the time. So just as individuals, probably the kindest thing that we can do is when we are doing any kind of rejection, to give people a little bit of insight into why, not to leave people second guessing. Interesting insight, everybody. Extra level of scale. What else we got? Yeah, it feels really difficult. So here, if you've got kind of multiple rejections, so you're going for roles and you've been rejected multiple times, the impact of that is likely to feel more. Interesting. Caroline saying like, Caroline saying, as someone who's got a big inner critic, I think I have a zillion micro rejections every day, which is quite interesting. But just building on that, Caroline, we all have in our brain the negativity bias. It means that we are wired to look for and process like negative emotions more. So like from today, I'll be like, oh, it was a really bad PodPlus and my tech went down and I didn't have the links. And if my negativity bias is primed, that are the thoughts that I will take away from this. Whereas actually, if I'm slightly more balanced in my perspective, the thoughts I would take away would be, oh, wasn't it nice that Claire is so committed to the community that she went and got that link? Wasn't it great that Sean is active in the PodPlus? If your negativity bias is really primed, it's very easy for your inner critic to take control. Just in case it helps, because I hadn't thought about that micro rejections that you're spotting all the time. Reflecting on your very small successes is a very, very good way to counter your inner critic. So literally, like at the end of the day, what has gone well today? And don't just do one thing, do 3, because the first thing comes really easily. But the third one, 3 things that have gone well, you have to think beyond the the obvious one will be up here anyway, but the 3 very small successes is a really good way if you feel like your inner critic is like in overdrive. Quite a useful thing. What's Claire saying? I think the rejection experience, being as constructive as possible, can be empowering. Yes, I think if you're in the right frame of mind, there is a lot to learn from rejection, which is what we're going to come on to. So with those different rejections in mind, question to you, what is your default response to rejection? So whether someone, you feel rejected by someone or you've been rejected from something, what is your response? Do you get like blamey? Do you get sad? Does that inner critic, oh gosh, what did I do? What can I do? What's your response to rejection? I think I get like, right, watch me. I think my response to rejection, not healthy, but I'm like, right, I'm gonna sort this out. If you reject me, I'm gonna find another way. I'm interested. What's yours, Rebecca? Inward. So you're okay. So you go to blame. I think I go to a game. I'm like, right, turn this into a game. I can do better. I should do better. I can do better. Sam maybe doing the similar as Rebecca, got a bit overthinking. Claire kind of hiding it, maybe smiley face, but like not feeling great. That's interesting, Annie. I'm not going back to it for a long time. Yeah, I'm Jess. I'm not good enough. I overthink. The reason I'm asking you to kind of reflect on your default response is a lot of the time our default response to rejection is it's a very human thing. It's very like generally driven by like fear or ego. Just normally most things are. It's a very human thing, but it often limits our learning. And that's why you need the breathing space. So we all have slightly, default responses, but in the moment that kind of watch me, and somebody else blaming themselves and somebody else sort of, distracting themselves with something, that default response is very limiting for our learning, but it's very natural to do. And I think it's why you kind of need to almost allow yourself time to be a bit blamey and be a bit critical, and me be a bit like, well, watch me. But then I think you have to put a line in the sand and say, right, I need to move on from this rejection. And that's why I wanted you to think about the different scales of rejection, because I think that line in the sand is different depending on the rejection. If someone's not responded to my email, I'm only going to get annoyed for probably about half an hour, and I'm going to move on, send another email. If I have been rejected by my team, I might be sad for a day and think, why don't my team like me? Why aren't they in PodPlus? Or if I've been rejected for a role, I'm probably going to give it a week. I think you need to decide where your line in the sand is. So everyone has a default response. Your default response is likely to limit your learning. You are a human being, so allow yourself a bit of space. But I think define your line in the sand is the main message on that. Okay, so let's shift into, we've had our default response. We're not going to beat ourselves up about that, but we've kind of drawn a bit of a line in the sand, and we need to sort of grow beyond this moment. So how do we do it? Couple of things. The first thing I think is to sort of rationalize the rejection a little bit. There are loads of reasons why rejection happens. People are busy. Someone might have more experience than you. There's like a whole host of reasons why rejection happens. But one of the things that is a slightly irrational response to rejection is when we fall into pessimism about it. And we've talked about this before, but I think it's relevant. And I didn't bring it up on the podcast, but I do think it's quite relevant. When you are rationalizing your response to rejection, it's useful to think about whether you might be falling into the trap of personalizing a situation. So, oh gosh, they don't like me. What did I do wrong? Like it's all very me. You're kind of internalizing it, and that inner critic is going, oh, Helen, you're just not very good at this, that kind of thing. Sometimes what we do is we make things very pervasive. And so you get rejected from, I don't know, a project or a job or whatever, and you go, God, everything is just awful at the moment. Everything is going wrong. Like Sarah's not speaking to me. They didn't reply to me. Like, oh, like, you make something very pervasive. So this moment that you're going through is sort of magnified because you are attaching it to some other stuff that's going on. And then the other one is where you make things really permanent. So you go, well, that relationship's ruined, isn't it? Or that I'm never going to get to go and write that book now because that person didn't come back to me. Like, it's not going to be a success now. So you sort of extrapolate the experience you're going through, and it becomes this determiner of your future. You know, because of this, I'm never going to be able to do that. And those feelings are, they're very real. I don't want to undermine them, but they are irrational. They are irrational feelings because of what we are experiencing about the situation. And so there are a few things that you can do to counteract those feelings. So the first is you can get perspective from other people. So if you want to kind of bring a bit more rationalization into this rejection, get some perspective from other people. So I might say to you, you know, like, oh, I went for a job. This is something that I would probably get rejected from. I went for a job as a non-exec director and I didn't get it. And I like feel like maybe I'm not experienced enough. Maybe I won't do that again. Maybe I've like ruined some of those relationships by going for it. And if you might give me some feedback and say, well, you know, Helen, how many people do you think went for that? And how did you show up? And you might ask me some questions that might give me a little bit more perspective, sort of zoom out in terms of the situation. So talking to other people to get their insights and their reflections can be a lot healthier than keeping the rejection in your own head. Like the people that are saying that they internalize it, like you are more likely for these types of feelings to grow. And so actually getting some perspective from other people can be really, really useful. The other thing that you can do here is you can get a bit of kind of empathy for the individual. So again, when we're very in our head, me, but like when I might think about, so we like micro rejections that we get all the time, or when we ask people for like endorsements for books, or even to come on the podcast. Loads of people that we would like to come on the podcast say no to us. And so actually I could be like, oh, maybe I didn't write that very well, or I'll tell you a real one, a real recent rejection. Let's make this real. Marshall Goldsmith rejected coming on the Video Book Club. I'm sure he's a very lovely person, by email. So Marshall Goldsmith wrote a book I really like called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And then he wrote another book that I like called Why Women Rise with Sally Helverson. I recommend both of those books. And I thought he would be really good for us to learn from. And I sent him a little video because I got wind of the fact that actually he wanted to be part of the project. And I sent him a video like, hi, I'm Helen. So excited that you're going to be part of the project. I mean, I thought we were in. I'd got signals that this was happening. And I sent him a video, this is what it looks like, and blah, blah, blah. And then I got this email in pink, I remember, pink text. Rejection's very memorable. Saying, oh, thank you for the opportunity. It was something like, it wasn't quite this. It was like, thank you for the opportunity. It's not something I want to be involved in. Something like rest in peace. It wasn't rest in peace, but it was words. It was slightly weird words. It was like, rest well, Helen, or something like that. I don't know what it was. It was a slightly weird email. And in the moment I did this, I was like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have sent that video. Maybe the video turned him on. Like, oh no, whatever. And then actually I shifted to this and I thought, you know what? He's sold a lot of books and I think he lives on a ranch and he's probably very happy in his life, just, you know, helping people he knows and letting his work do the talking for him, and he probably doesn't want to come on a podcast with someone he doesn't know who's clearly very enthusiastic and energetic and he's having quite a relaxed time on his ranch. That's you know, just sometimes a manager has to make a difficult decision and they've interviewed an awful lot of people and it's not really about you, it's about and they're under a lot of pressure too to find the right person and to find the right fit and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes I think unlocking a bit of empathy can be quite helpful. Rest in peace, remember it big. I can't remember what it was. I should find it and tell you. Also, obviously, this is going on YouTube, so I should be a bit conscious of that. But I should find. But it was something that made me just think, "Oh, the pink is weird." As is that phrase. Sounds like he was helping you too with your rejection, probably. And the other thing, again, we've talked about this before. Mental time travel, quite useful. So because when you've been rejected, you can get very stuck in the moment. The moment I can be like, oh, Marshall Goldsmith rejected me. You get very stuck in the moment. So what's quite useful is to think about kind of when have I been rejected before and what do I learn from it? So I might think about a job that I got rejected from, and actually better things came as a result of me not getting that job. Like that's quite a positive reflection on my rejection. And also that thinking forward about, well, what else could I do? Fair enough, I've been rejected. Fair enough, Marshall Goldsmith not coming on the podcast. But who else could I ask that I'm really interested in? This has now created a space for me to speak to somebody else. And so that mental time travel of like, when have I dealt with rejection in the past, and what was better because of it, and what else could I do? What else can I now apply for? What other things could I put myself forward for? That mental time travel can get you out of being stuck in a situation. But it's like I said, it's why don't do this straight away, because you've still got your default emotions there, and you've got to do this after you've drawn the line in the sand. What else have we got here? More PodPluses. So look for the learning. This is the other thing. There will be learning in rejection. You just got to be ready to learn. So when you are ready to learn from it, there are some useful questions for you to reflect on. So first of all, I would just spend a bit of time just writing down, not with any real intent, just a bit of a dump, to be honest. What did I learn about me? So maybe, Marshall, I rushed in a bit too quickly, maybe I should have sense checked that he was in before I assumed. Maybe. What did I learn about me? What did I learn about them? He rejected me in a very polite way, and he responded, right? So he was, I don't feel bad about it. I thought it was fair enough, like at the end of it. And what did I learn about the situation? Maybe I could have got somebody else to sort of make the introduction rather than doing it all myself. Maybe that would have helped. There's always stuff you can learn if you ask the questions. But if you don't ask yourself the questions, then you're not getting learning from the moment. You're just getting all the horrible feelings instead, which is not helpful. A couple of other things. What have I gained from it? So I gained somebody else in the video book club, maybe. And what would I now do differently? I mean, I probably wouldn't send the video of me before video of me getting really excited before I'd actually confirmed that someone was involved. Okay, and I gained a good story. I did, Steve, that I probably shouldn't be sharing. But I'd rather make this real. I'd rather make it real for you. So ask yourself the questions. Or you're not. In our new book that I'm also not supposed to be talking about, we have a big part in there around hard learning. And most people, like mistakes and failures, people often move on from too quickly. And so they miss the learning in them because they don't ask the questions. And actually, rejections are just a flag for learning if you ask the questions. What else have we got? Find the full stop. This is the one I think I should be better at, but I hope we can maybe do it together. So sometimes when you've been rejected, from a role or an opportunity or whatever, actually that can live on in your mind because you haven't closed it down. And actually finding the full stop is something that's in your control. Very often, rejection is not in your control. Like, otherwise you wouldn't be rejected, right? Because in my control, you wouldn't have rejected me. So it's not in your control. And so that feeling can live on in a not like very nice way. And so finding the full stop is where you take back your control. And so let's say you've been rejected from a job. What I would do is I'd probably respond to someone and I'd acknowledge the rejection. I'd say, I'd probably like say, thank you for taking your time. I appreciate that I'm not the right person for this position at this time. So I'd probably express some gratitude for somebody's time and acknowledge the rejection. So that's kind of one way that you're full stop. It's not going on in your head. You've kind of closed that loop. I might ask, it is an area I'm still interested in. Have you got any feedback for me or any advice, or is there anything that you would recommend that I learn based on the conversation that we had? Like I would probably be like, right, well, I'm not going to let you stop me. I'm gonna ask. And again, they may or may not respond to that, but that's, you are in control of making that ask. And if it is appropriate, not always appropriate, I would turn it into a connection. So you might not have created a career opportunity, but you could create a connection. And that's not always appropriate. Depends how the rejections happened. But, I could go connect with Marshall on LinkedIn. He might not want to be on the video book club, but he's not getting away from me that easily. But also, jokes aside, you kind of don't know where these opportunities are going to take you in the future. You don't really know where your connections might kind of come into action for your career. So if you can create a connection, I always think that's quite a good takeaway from these situations. And so that is it, everybody. Thank you for bearing with me with my technology and my lack of team. No lack of team. You are the team. You are the Squiggly team. Any other reflections or suggestions before we head off to our days? If you have, let me maybe know afterwards. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Zoe. Any other questions? I'm pretty sure this is a bit of a hard topic. So if you've got any other questions or you've got any other reflections and you want to share them privately, you're always welcome to email me, helen@amazingif.com. Otherwise, I will leave you to your day. I'm going to go help another company do some learning, and then I'm going to join my team at some point today with the vision books. I'm hoping they might have got me like a coffee at some point. We'll see. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. Speak to you soon. Bye for now, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.